Welcome back to this Elide Sunday Talk Show here on the Arise News Channel. With me today, I have Chike Ogeah, former Commissioner for Information, Delta State, and Managing Director at McFoley Hospitality Limited. Chike Ogeah, good to have you on the program. Well, we have four topics on the table. The U.S. rejoining UNESCO after 6 years, the electoral outcome in Sierra Leone, the police directives by the Acting Inspector General of Police about VIP protection and all of the other details about security architecture, which we discussed earlier, with AIG Alakpene retired, and then, of course, Tinubunomics, which Chief Marcel Okeke addressed. The diplomatic issues, international relations issues were analyzed by Ambassador Olusegun Akinsanya. What's your take on these four broad topics?
Well, I listened to them. Thank you for having me. If we start with the first one, which really is the withdrawal of officers from protection of VIPs, you know, that thing has been a very, very recalcitrant situation in the country. IG after IG has come in and have made the promise, made a vow that they are going to stop it. Because like people notice, even when I was a commissioner, we had that kind of protection, which, you know, public servants are entitled to. But the way it is being abused is the problem here. Like you rightly said, you even see 7 policemen carrying madam's bag and all that kind of thing. So what I always thought was that there should be a professional force, and I think that's what the former AIG was trying to refer to. There was a training for that, he said. I think he called them the Quick Intervention Squad or something, which they could use for that purpose. So it would become like a special purpose vehicle. And it would be a bit removed. In fact, I think they should have like a separate kind of uniform and all that from the real crime fighting policemen that should be on the streets doing their work. He says that in Lagos, for instance, where we all live, if you go to where we have parties in Harbour Point and all those, which is the truth, by the time you see the amount of policemen there, and you know the kind of challenges we have in Nigeria, you know, it's really a problem. And like I said, IG after IG come, they make this vow and they fail miserably. And that's why he said, well, even I think he's quite friendly with Egbetokun and all of that. He will wait and see what, you know, the magic he is going to perform this time. But really and truly speaking, something has to be done about that. Because not only does it demean the force, it takes away from the capabilities of them to respond to the multiple challenges we have all over the country. And then, of course, there's this issue of the training of policemen generally. And that's why we saw that horrendous video that came out of Ekpoma the other day, where, you know, I saw this van, you know, going over somebody. And that was apparently being done by policemen. Actually, I didn't believe it. I thought it was one of, so I was surprised.
Because it was artificial intelligence produced.
I don't even know. But, you know, things like that, these are the kind of things. Of course, we know that Nigerian police are not well remunerated, they are not well trained. And once all those things are going on, we remember what the training school in GRA Ikeja used to be like, I think until some, was it Channels or somebody? Some organization did some major surgical operation there, but I wonder if it hasn't gone back. Because you see, it's not about doing these things. It is about maintaining them. It's the maintenance culture that we have a problem with in Nigeria. So that in all, you know, we'll wait to see the, how will I say, the jury will be out on all of that. And he talked about a situation of duplication of investigations, promotion and welfare of policemen, that all these things have to be harmonized, and that is the only way we can start getting a professional force. Then when we come to what you call Tinubunomics, you know, which was what Marcel Okeke was talking about. Basically, you know, the World Bank, the IMF, I don't know, those multilateral agencies, they say they don't call them Bretton Woods institutions anymore. Yeah. I don't know. That's what they used to be called. I remember when
because Bretton Woods was the guy who came up with the idea after the Second World War.
When I used to be, when I used to work in the economic space many years ago. And basically, you know, I understand what Mr. Okeke, I mean Chief, Double Chief Okeke was talking about.
Triple Chief.
Okay, triple. Now, I think the situation is simple. We agree. Nigerians are ready for this great sacrifice that we are called to make in terms of this fuel subsidy, you know, going off and the consequent hike in prices. But he says that the first things should be done first, which have not been done. And that is the case, the small case of the refineries. Why should 4 refineries in Nigeria not be working up till now? And we're still 100% dependent on foreign importation of what we have. So as long as that is the situation, I don't know. Even the Dangote refinery, which we were thinking was going to take, I was very optimistic about that, thinking that would take the place of all those refineries put together, knowing that those refineries are not only old, they are archaic, maybe unserviceable. That's why I wonder why they keep voting money for them, calling them, turning around maintenance and all of that. When something is obsolete, you might not even have the parts to get for them. So what are we turning around? So I thought a modern refinery like Dangote's refinery, which is maybe one of its kind, the first of its kind in size in maybe the entire world, I thought that refinery was not going to only solve the problem of Nigeria, but indeed that of Africa. Because that is why all our fuel is being taken out of the country through all the borders, and because, you know, and being sold at exorbitant prices outside Nigeria. And that, okay, see what has happened in a couple of days, that these prices have kind of adjusted itself. I'm waiting for the NNPC to then bring out the figures to tell us how many liters of fuel we actually consume in this country every day. And we will see the disparity based on all that we used to do all the time, that there were subsidies and all of that. So those are the kind of things we should be looking at. I believe that we should get our fundamentals right. We should trim down on government. I think that is very important. There were a few videos I saw over the course of the week. One, I think, belongs to the president. There was another one they even said belonged to Peter Obi himself, who is supposed to be an exponent for this new kind of frugal kind of situation, which is required in Nigeria. This should be a bit of some kind of austere times. And you still see 100 cars, 120 cars, most of them SUVs.
Well, the difference here is that the context of that discussion is about cost of governance.
Yes.
And the need for public officials to also reduce cost.
Definitely.
And make sacrifice that they're asking Nigerians to make. But Peter Obi, to the best of my knowledge, is not a public official.
It's not a public official, and they were saying that
so
it was even...
So the comparison is a bit
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to tell you the optics is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And that was even supposed to be at the time of the campaigns.
Yeah.
So, and someone says campaigns is to bring people, that maybe those might be part of the people that were in the campaigns and all of that. So I said, okay, fine.
Which is the same argument I made for Tinubu.
Fine.
That it was not just his own convoy.
That there were so many convoys that
joining, and that the context should be properly defined.
But the way I knew how it worked, I don't know whether it's changed, or maybe because they are settling down, people just don't join the president's convoy. The president's convoy is the president's convoy. If there are 20 cars in that convoy, there should be major security, and after that, there must be like a mile, of the road closure before any other convoy can come.
Don't forget that.
So there are even security issues involved in that.
These are Lagos people.
No, it doesn't matter wherever they are.
The Lagos boy returning to Lagos.
It doesn't matter. These are major security issues. I'm telling you. Then there was also the case again, looking at everything holistically, of the speaker, the new speaker, who just appointed I don't know how many aides. So you see, we must trim down, we must cut that excess fat in government if we want the people. Look, when I was coming here today, you needed to see the amount of people that were trekking on the road. I tell you, I have never noticed that till today. And it just occurred to me that where are all these people going to? Then I realized,
well, Ogeah, God bless his soul.
Yes.
Once recommended that all of us should be going about on bicycle. Is Ogeah now prophetic?
Well, I remember you tried to let Mr. Okeke understand that, no, this whole thing about fuel subsidy, like the way Nigerians think, it's all about Tinubu. No, the PIA had already set the stage for it anyway, so we're going in that direction, which I'm happy for the first time. Even Labour itself, everybody seems to, let's see where we are going. But I think these other fundamentals that should be put in place must be put in place. And the people up there at the top must be seen to be making the kind of sacrifices that they should be making. Personally, I have everything against those cash conditional transfers. I think it is the greatest avenue for corruption. If we save any monies and we can make direct interventions into our education, into our health systems, things that can, profit the common man also, that is fine. Or if we can have a welfare benefit system that we can say people of within so and so economic bracket, you would help them, pay their house rent, you would do stuff like that. Those are the kind of things we should go and think. I mean, I'm looking forward to a Tinubu administration where they will be strong on the economy, where they will have a strong economic team that will come up with some of these kind of sustainable policies, not these kind of things you want to do, just give people 5,000 naira. No. Please, what can you do with 5,000 naira now? So those are the kind of things I'm expecting this government to do. These are early days, and we want to give them all the time, that they need to do all of that. Then in the case of UNESCO, we know what the politics is. It's a new day. Russia and China are trying to dominate the world space, and I know America will not sit down there and let that happen. America had left that organization twice before, I think Reagan, and then in 2017 under Donald Trump. Why are they leaving? That is the critical issue. And from what Ambassador said, you could tell is that maybe they felt that the organization, was not sitting up to their role and all of that. But lately, they found out that I think the organization, according to what Ambassador Akisoya said, this new Secretary General that is there, that is advancing a lot of causes for peace and all of that, and also maybe using culture and education, I think gender equality and things like that, that the Americans mouth anyway. And you can see a situation where they want to come into the bandwagon and to use the opportunity, obviously, to reset themselves as the policeman of the free world, as the leaders of the free world, And he said something interesting, that thank God that there is no veto power in UNESCO because, like Fela used to tell us, one vote is equal to 100 or more. Russia and China might have even made it difficult for America to come back. So that is fine. America can get back there. We expect more monies to be put in there. Africa can benefit from that as well, and all the kind of things that we need to do here. So to that extent, I'm very hopeful and happy of that. Then the final one, obviously, is the Sierra Leonean one, which, if you ask me, what is the situation there? A typical African problem. Democracy being foisted on us without us trying to find what our own homegrown solutions are. Because Sierra Leone is a population of how many? 3.4 or something? Maybe less than 4 million people.
3.4 million.
Less than 4 million people. And we cannot conduct credible elections that everybody will shake hands after. That, to me, is troubling. And we know what happened in Sierra Leone not too long ago. We had many of them come into Nigeria as refugees then, I remember. And they obviously don't want to go back on that path. So I think it is important that, just like Ambassador Akinsanya also said, they should follow their own laws. It's not about having a standoff and thinking that there's going to be some brinkmanship here. No. What are their laws? What does their constitution say? If the opposition believes that BO did not win the election, then they should go to court, but not to sit down and say that, no, we don't accept the results, and that could, cause confusion. You ask
Okay,
me.
I thought you were also going to talk about the naira.
The naira.
These money floats.
No, yeah.
That they've talked about.
Well, you see, I don't know, because you can see how the naira is going. We are losing track. I mean, it's almost going to be 1,000 to 1 naira. I mean, 1,000 naira to $1 very soon if something is not done. But that has always been clear to me in my mind. Whatever the multilaterals are saying, whatever loans we are collecting, I don't think that is what's going to help the value of our currency. The value of our currency, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be helped by only one thing, and that is production. Once we don't have the productive base to back up our national reserves, which can boost, the value of our currency, everything else we're doing, it's wasting of time. And that's why I said I look forward to this government settling down, seeing how they're going to put their economic team together and how we can move from consumption to production. I think that is the most important thing.
Okay, just one comment on what you refer to Ambassador Akinsanya saying, he hopes that America will not continue to go in and out of UNESCO. Well, I don't think that what America is doing in that regard is surprising. One of the electives I took at the University of Maryland at College Park in the U.S. In the Department of Government and Politics was a subject called American Foreign Policy Process. And Odin Carter, the third, former State Department spokesperson who was teaching that course, told us that, look, American foreign policy is always oscillating between unilateralism and multilateralism, or what you call isolationism and American, multilateralism. But at the heart of it is what they call American exceptionalism.
That's
America's ambition is to be first in the world. Since 1911, when America built the dominant navy in the world. So you always find that tension at the heart of the American foreign policy process. I hope I've not quoted Odin Carter the third out of context, but I remember, I took that course.
But I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And the truth is that whenever there's a conflict between that unilateralism you talked about and multilateralism, America will go for
exceptionalism.
Yes, its own interest.
Country first, which is a lesson we have to learn in this country. In a bid, let's take another topic very quickly as we begin to wrap up. In a bid to end the sad relationship between Igbos and Yorubas in Lagos State, Governors Hope Uzodinma of Imo State and Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State have set up a committee to broker peace between the two ethnic groups. In a communique issued at the end of the meeting, the two governors agreed to suspend further demolition at Alaba International Market in order to foster a cordial relationship between the Southeast and the Southwest. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, and his Lagos State counterpart agreed to work together and accept that compensation will be paid for any wrong demolition in Alaba International Market. The two state governors also agreed that tax rates and demand notices levied on Igbo real estate developers will be reviewed to prevent any future friction between both ethnic groups in Lagos. A proper channel of communication is expected to be established with organized Igbo leaders in Lagos as it used to be in previous administrations. Well, Chike, it looks like this matter will not go away. Ethnic tension since the election between Igbos and Yorubas in Lagos. What do you think?
Well,
what do you suggest?
The truth is that the Igbos really, especially those of the Southeast extraction, they put their whole political capital in the People's Democratic Party since 1999. And Igbos from the Southeast that have ever ventured into the other political parties, especially those like the APC, are almost seen as pariahs. It is funny that a governor like Hope Uzodinma, who we all know got into the position he did at the time he did, if you asked me, and if you are taking a poll of the Southeastern at some point in time, he might have been the most hated Igbo man or the most unpopular politician from the Southeast. But you know, they say the ways of God is not the ways of man. The way it is looking, somehow or the other, I think even the Southeasterners will say, thank God we have this man there today. Because if Hope Uzodinma was not in the APC and have started working with people in that party, where he has built some trust within that system, which really is very, very alien to the Igbos, who will be making this intervention? Igbos will have just woken up one day in Lagos and had all their properties demolished. They will have even been chased out of the town, because whether you like it or not, the way they voted in this last election really surprised the Yorubas. And it took them by major surprise. And also, I am happy that there is a cosmopolitan governor in Lagos at a time like this, in the name of someone like Jide Sanwo-Olu. Because if you had a hardline Yoruba irredentist person as a governor today, then before you know what's happened, these are where the flare-ups will come from. And you know, it has always surprised me, because you see, if you divide me into two, I'm half Igbo and I'm half Yoruba, right? So I wonder why in Nigeria it always ends up with Igbos and Yorubas.
Your half Yoruba is Ibadan, right?
Don't worry where it is.
Yeah.
Why does it end up with Igbos and Yorubas? Meanwhile, at the beginning of the matter, the Yorubas are not the problem of the Igbos, though. The Igbos are not the problem of the Yorubas. But somehow, even if you go back to the Civil War, which I still remember, it ends up as that. And you know, that is why I'm very happy that even in the scheme of things, you have some key Yoruba men that, you know, talk about, you know, the whole country, the Obasanjos of this world, our father, Ayo Adebanjo. They see things from the Nigerian perspective. You also have